Peace. Peace, Marcus. Welcome to the room. Peace to listeners, to anyone who might be listening on this wonderful New Year's afternoon or evening, wherever you are in the States. I'm Eve, and it looks like we got Marcus up on stage. Marcus, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Marcus. How are you?
I'm good. Energized to say the least.
Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up. And I saw that you have a space tomorrow, and I like that, I like how your spaces have been going with regards to making sure that we are grounded as a people. So, people, if you're listening to this space, live or recorded, please join Marcus tomorrow in his space. Uh, he's going to be talking about healing for Above Trauma Tuesdays. And I think that those are necessary conversations. And you might have something to contribute to today's conversation, Marcus. I'm glad you joined us today. I wanted to talk about cults, gangs, and religion. Peace, to want to see you up on stage too. Welcome. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I know that this is kind of like a surprise space, and I know everybody's probably doing their own thing. But just while I had the thought and just conversations that I've been having today and the past couple of days, uh, cult like has been popping up a bunch of times. And I was just wondering if maybe you guys have heard similar things being in similar spaces. And if you have heard similar things in similar spaces, then maybe this is a conversation that we need to have because why is it a bad thing, or is it a bad thing, or do we need to do something else? So I guess I wanted to start with that first question. And to the room, if you want to participate in the conversation, you're welcome to grab a mic. um, we will accept you with open arms, but don't say anything super crazy and not expect a crazy response back. So my question right now, the first question is, have you guys heard, at least on the Black empowerment side of things, have you ever heard that this is like a cult-like situation, or Black empowerment is cult-like, or Black empowerment has a cult-like following? Have you guys heard any of that, or either of those, any type of variation or something else?
I heard that. I've been hearing that a lot over the years. I've been and when I first started hearing it, I didn't really pay too close attention because of who was saying it. And I think when I first started hearing it, it really was just some people who would just hate, like the whole. I'm not even gonna throw the other acronyms out there because I don't even want to get into no back and forth with none of these niggas. But you saw that. And as time went on, I've been hearing it more and more and more and more. And as I sit back and watch, I'm like, okay, I kind of see where these people are coming from. I think them being on the peripheral gives them a certain type point of view that's different than those who are on the inside. But yeah, when I heard a lot of the cult like stuff, I had to sit back and ask myself, am I being cultish? Are the groups in the circles that I'm involved in, are they just blindly giving up leadership to people and giving up their power to other people? And one thing I do see is when I say cult, like I'm not saying it from the point of view of anyone that's making it a cult. I'm saying it from the point of view of the people themselves make it a cult. Like Beyonce. I don't think Beyonce's out there saying I'm going to create a cult, but she does create a particular energy that gives people like her most hardcore fan base. It's very cultish like, where you can't say anything wrong. And when the people start sort of mimicking the same words over and over and over and over again, like, it's nothing wrong with saying some of the same things, but it's like, okay, you now speaking like people and on situations that don't even imply that empowerment. So goddamn, where does your brain begin and theirs end? I think it's a very important conversation that we have. We see it with, you see it with like Jay-Z fans. You see it with LeBron fans. You see it with these particular. You see it in basketball a lot. You don't see it as much in baseball, why? Because the engineering is a little bit different. So yeah, it's just something that we see here. We see a lot of cult like following, and no matter what our ideologies are, we should all still be be objective and the people that we follow and like the most understand that they're not always right, or sometimes they may be right, but you yourself have a different point of view, than what they're presenting, and that's okay. And people need to have the respect of if somebody has a different point of view than the cult that you, for the most part, follow. That is so when you know that it's okay that someone else can have a diverging point of view and y'all still be cool. That's how you know you're not part of the cult like thing. But if you're the kind of person that every time someone else you speak, and if somebody else diverges from that group thing in any way, shape, or form, then you got to ask yourself, is that you talking, or is that your cult like behavior coming through?
Right, right. I like that. I like that beginning thought, Juan. Thank you for the examples. And I think that we will definitely come back to the Beyoncés and the Jay-Z's because those are examples we can all picture very easily when we're talking about blindly following something. And then inside of Black empowerment, we've got people who may or may not be blindly following things or people, and not that the people have said follow me, but once you've acquired a certain amount of something, well, people start to look at you as something else. People pedestalize people all the time, and it's not the person's fault, but I do think that we can use that, but maybe we're not using it the right way. At least this is my beginning thought. Go ahead, Marcus. What is your beginning thought?
I think couple things, and I like Dwan's examples as well, just kind of using certain celebrities in the music industry. But the times that I've heard, just being in the Black empowerment movement and people saying that it's a cult, my first impression was, that it was that term was used just to shame us as a whole out of our own advancement, and creating this the shaming and the guilt tactics that have been used just over time to keep us normalizing the underclass position and looking out for everybody else outside of ourselves. And that happens a lot of times with regards to the psychology. It happens with the narcissist and the empath couple, and that joining of people, where you have the narcissist constantly, or the manipulator constantly shaming their partner out of their own desires, or they're not able to check their partner, they're not able to ask questions, they're not able to look out for themselves, they have to constantly be in service of their partner's emotions, um, one way or another, or they're subjected to different terms and just negative energy and verbal and mental abuse, and so on and so forth. So we catch that as a people a lot. So when I hear that, I know you can kind of tell what the intent behind it is by who's saying it. And just one thing, about things like religion and everything like that. Black empowerment is the same thing when it comes down to the individual that's drawn to it. What is the intention, right? Let's pick religion as an example, right? Let's pick Christianity.
Marcus, let's uh let's slow walk this.
Okay.
We definitely get to religion. So I hope you don't have to like jet. Um do you have to jet, or can we come back to religion?
Yeah, 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 yeah. If you wanna slow walk it, I'll jump back in. That's cool.
Yeah, let's slow walk it because really all of it, cult, gangs, religion, I think that they could all easily be replaced. Those words could be replaced in real time in whatever people are talking about. But then it's like, well, is there a purpose? Is there a reason why? And you see a lot of blind followers in general, people who probably shouldn't even be there because they don't know why. They're just there because they were told to be there. So um, I think we definitely are going to have some things to say, and I hope that the room comes through and comments. And if not, then you and me and Dewan, we can definitely chop this up for people to stew on for later. But Rashad, Peace to you, Rashad. Welcome to the stage. You got some thoughts on the cult of Black empowerment?
How you doing, Jesse? What's good, Dewan? Yes, as it pertains to Black empowerment, I feel I got two different thought patterns when it comes to it. I feel like one, there is a open attack to make black empowerment negative. So if black empowerment or anything dealing with black empowerment is negative, they can just be like, well, oh, that's just black empowerment. Oh, that's just it's kind of like what they were doing when people were saying like Black Lives Matter. They was using Black Lives Matter as a code word for all black people, and they was trying to make that a negative thing. Or they'll use something like Chicago. I think they're trying to do the exact same thing as it pertains to black empowerment. All they have to like say get to the point where black empowerment becomes a negative term, and then they can treat it just like they were doing with Chicago. Well, what about black empowerment and all the negative that came with that? Even though we won't let that happen, etc. But in that same token, I do feel like you do have people who find someone who they either the words they're saying or the way they're moving as it just lights up their eyes, so they'll follow them blindly, which can be detrimental because if you're following someone who's saying reckless thing or they're saying something or they can be bought out for whatever reason, you're going to follow along with them. So I am seeing things that of people having somewhat of a group like mentality. But then I see a lot of people who are open with, hey, I'm not going to follow everyone just because that person is cool or that person he can speak properly. I think a lot of people are like, nah, I don't have to follow him. I can agree with things they are saying and disagree with other things.
All right, very nice. And I like that you brought up the group. I like that you brought up the group think aspect, that hive mentality. Um, you've got that literally inside of Beyonce's group of fans because they call themselves Beehive, and that's literally that, you know. So people who are just doing what the group is doing for the sake of the group. But is that a bad thing? I don't know. I think that somebody's going to have to convince me that the group working for the group is a bad thing for the group.
Can
Or,
I, that how you said it, is it like a bad thing? I think it can be a bad thing because once you something becomes a group or something becomes a quote unquote organization, it it makes it more easier for it to be criminalized or to be put up as a hate group or anything on that line. So all they have to say is, oh, that those X, Y, and Z, those people over there are a group, and we need to make sure that they're targeted, etc. You can even have one person who claims to be a part of that group, and everybody who's associated with that group, because that one person, whether he's an agent or not, or he's someone of a free thinker who's purposely doing these things, whatever the case is, if that person's doing something negative and he's associated with that group and that group is associated with black empowerment, all the negative things he's doing will be associated with that group also.
fair enough. Fair enough. Duan, you have any thoughts on what Rashad just said?
He on point. That's why I don't really do the whole cult thing and the whole group thing. I just because most people are very simple and stupid, and so one person do something, it could be a bunch of people with good intentions, but that's going to get overshadowed and overlooked, and then eventually get criminalized. If the person that is deemed as a leader says something that's criminal, and everyone under that umbrella is going to have to suffer the consequences. So that's the dangers in being cult like, repeating the same words as people, because you may have most. I find when it comes to most cult like things, whether it be religion or whatever, 85% of the people are innocent. They just really just kind of just abdicate. Well, I won't say innocent because it's still a choice to allow other people to think for you. That's still a choice that you make, and it's a dangerous choice. But they're not making that choice with any kind of ill will or ill intention. It's usually a small cluster of people who got the nefarious. They're using that particular hashtag or group for nefarious means, and sometimes it's not even the leader. It's somebody within the group of the leader. It's someone there. It's a loud vocal person that's within that cult, that people that or that thing that people perceive as a cult. Somebody that has that's prominent within that. Somebody who you see their face pop up all the time around a particular group or hashtag. When they get screwed up, everybody suffers the consequences. So, like Rashad was saying, man, that's something you got to watch out for real, for real.
That's very real. And as you were saying that, I just kept thinking about how inside of Black empowerment there are different sects of Black empowerment, right? You've got the conscious community. I'm talking like Sonetta and them 125th Street conscious community. You've got people like the new Black media. You've got, I know y'all are going to hate this, but you've got Rolly in them. You've got the old Black media because before people were comfortable speaking up, you had to go along and get along. So inside of everything that we've been doing, you've got these different groups saying that they're going to do something for us. But then are they? And is it working? Is what they're doing the best way? And if it's not, then maybe we can do it a different way. Or can we glean from other groups who've done similar things? I think that whole I'm white and I say so aspect of it all that we all experience every day, that's cult like, but that's also a societal norm. So, can we get some of those behaviors to translate to us? I don't know. Mark, you have your hand up. Peace to you. Welcome to the stage.
All right. So I hope I'm not too far away from what you all are speaking on, but I just came in. But my question is, why do we worry about what they are talking about when it comes to us, whoever they are? They have cults and gangs and shit that they're involved in. So why is it that we worried about what they gonna do in terms of demonizing us? When are we gonna start demonizing them?
That's a good question. So, I'm glad that we can clarify this. I'm talking about us for us right now. It's mainly us. I've heard us demonize us. And then on top of that, I feel like they've come from somewhere. It's not like they just woke up one day and said that they're going to start targeting, you know, targeting us specifically, unless there's a reason why, the Democratic shills and the bootlicks, and they've got their, the Bucci Bears, they've got their assignments, and then from there it's to
Oh no, no,
disrupt.
no. The same go for them too. I mean, because I lead the charge here in Chicago, going after the people you speaking of. I don't care about them being special. I done led protests against the Nation of Islam at the headquarters. So y'all,
Well,
I
that's
mean,
very interesting. I
yeah.
Tell me more. What do you mean?
So what I'm
Why
saying, to
specifically?
you all,
I Here's a
mhm,
specific question. I'm sorry.
mhm,
Why did you protest the Nation of Islam?
because they had Mexicans cutting the grass, and one of the activists questioned some guys from the nation, and he was standing on the grounds of the nation, and they didn't want him standing on the grounds, and he was, confrontational with them in front of his 9-year-old kid. They beat this man half to death, and so the streets were about, because they didn't know who this guy was. They thought he was just an activist talking shit, but they didn't know that he had a army that supported him. And so I came in the middle of it to keep them from killing members of the nation, or vice versa, whichever one, and did the protest, and then sat down with leadership and said to them that, hey, look, um, we all black people, and nobody's superior than either ones of us, right? And that's what needs to happen across the board. So when they who work for them Jews, because they ain't just no, these niggas that work for Jews here in this city that wants to oversee us, whether they Masons, Eastern Star sorority fraternity members, you know, once you sit down and you explain to them that we all equal and they don't get it, then you get at their ass. That's how it go.
I like
So
that. I wasn't sure what you're about to say, but that last part, I'm with it. I put up a poll today. Native Black America, are y'all ready to sue the Congressional Black Caucus? Because they're treasonous to us. And I was in a space earlier today, and that whole thought just was resonating in the room. I think it's time that we really do something about them. People who say that they're speaking for us, but they don't actually speak for us. I'll throw it in the jumbo if I haven't done that already. Um, New speaker is my hubby, all the way free. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
You got some thoughts on tonight's space?
Yes, actually, I do. Y'all having a good conversation. Peace to the room. With cults, gangs, and religion, you know, with black empowerment, we know the white supremacists. We know that they on code with each other. So, but with black empowerment, we have to be on code as well. And sometimes when you're dealing with black empowerment, a good leader knows when to follow. Like you're supposed to follow to be on code. The new black media teaches us that the code is the leader, not no individual or anything like that. And sometimes we get confused and mixed up with that. And like my father taught me, you don't have no another man come in your household trying to control your household and dominate you or do stuff like that, just because you like them or they're a celebrity or life is gonna life. You have to deal with it, but we can't allow individual thinking or group thinking to just run you. You got to do what you're supposed to do, and be on code. So I appreciate the space. I'm gonna fall back and listen and appreciate
That's real talk. I think that people are very easy to follow a celebrity or a voice because it's easy to not have to speak, right? Even in these spaces, no offense to anybody who doesn't want to speak in spaces, because I am very much a person who will tell you to your face that everybody doesn't need a mic. I really believe that. But sometimes you guys have something to say and you don't want to. You're not ready. You're not, I don't know if I want to say that you're afraid, but maybe you're just not sure if this is the time. But the time is now. It, it's past time. I think it's past time for us to make some of these bold statements against some of these things that we've been seeing. And inside of what we do collectively, if the name of the game is to um, criminalize Black empowerment, or to, it's an open attack on all things Black empowerment, and then they say that Black empowerment is a cult, or the new Black media is a cult, or people who use Black first is a cult, or the niggas who say foundational Black America is a cult. All of this stuff is identifiers. And I think if we look at what cult means, we're talking about, it comes from the word culture. And if that is what it is, then why is that wrong? Now we're back into, why are y'all trying to make something that's natural and that makes sense criminalized? Why are you trying to criminalize me for identifying as I identify? Devon, we were talking about this earlier, weren't we? With
Yeah.
with regards to being being who you say you are, because I feel like that's going to be our motto for life, is to make sure that the people that we're listening to are who they say they are. And then from there, if we're all following the same mindset, is that wrong? Who cares what people are calling it? Like, don't we need to be doing that? Like, isn't that what these other people are doing it?
I think when it comes down to it, it's a line. It's a paradox. It's a both end type situation. You know what I mean? On one hand, it's good to have a central rallying point with a group of like-minded people that you're rallying with when it comes to particular causes. Nothing wrong with that. The issue becomes when somebody diverges because they may really feel, the people you're listening to may feel really strongly about a particular situation, and you as an individual or a group of individuals don't think it's that, think something different. The cult part comes in where the dangerous comes in, where when someone else diverges from a point of view on a particular topic, when respect for that individual's divergent, and it turns into, oh, now they're filling the blank. It becomes the people who you was riding with, rocking with, y'all agree on 90% of things, but then some come up and there's a disagreement. Now that same organism, that same organization, the same group of people who were your partners, people you was cool with, and you still 90% agree with, because we don't agree in this particular area, it becomes a me versus you. Now you're no longer my brother, you just some nigga. That's where it gets like, or if the perceived leader of that group or someone who's very vocal within that group tells everybody, hey, don't listen to them, listen to me and just trust me. Now, if they say, okay, don't listen, watch out for this person because of A, B, C, and D, and then they'd be like, but as it's still your choice, whatever, I can respect that. We do need warnings because sometimes people can be a little bit foul, and you need someone to send a smoke signal to everyone else and be like, hey, everybody, watch out for this person. But a true leadership, somebody who's not trying to develop a cult like personality, somebody who's truly teaching, they're going to know that they taught you well enough for you to decipher. And if you can't decipher, is that somebody a lot of time on? You know what I mean? That's the kind of decisions and things that got to go through the mindset of the leaders or those vocal within a particular group. When it's just don't I don't listen to that person because I don't like them or because they disagree on this one particular thing, then it's like, okay, yeah, that may be your issue with that person, and I understand that's your issue with that person, but I'm not gonna follow just because you told me to. If that other person you told me not to listen to still, if if they still have a lot of things that feed my spirit and my soul or feed my knowledge base, then I'm still gonna listen to them. Even the people I listen to the most, they have certain subject matter that they talk about where I'll be like, nigga, hell nah, nigga, I cannot listen to you on this particular topic now. I'll listen to you on some media shit or some news shit or whatever, whatever. But some of these other topics, he'd be like, nigga, if you don't sit your ass all the way down. But at the same time, I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's like I'm not gonna throw the leader out or throw the vocal person within the group out because they have a particular line of things that they talk about that I don't necessarily agree with. I'm gonna be mature enough to be like, okay, yeah, me and this person, me and that group, we part ways on this particular issue. But overall, I still got love for them. I think if we could develop that level of maturity, then no, being a cult like thing is not a bad thing. It's really only a bad thing when you remove the responsibility of thinking from yourself and you assign it to somebody else, whether that be a leader or someone that's highly ranking or perceived as highly vocal or ranking within that group. That's when it becomes a problem.
That was beautiful. Thinking is yours, y'all. It's your brain. But I get that you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. Like some things are very easy because people have done it before you. You have to be discerning. You got to use that brain that you were given by whoever you believe in or whatever you believe in. If you believe in something, if not, then biology says that if you're a functioning human, you have a brain and it does things that help you navigate through life. Um, Rashad, you had your hand up first, and then we're going to get back to Mark, and then Marcus, and then I think we have a new speaker. Go ahead, Rashad.
It's just something real quick. It comes down to when it comes to group thinking. Like I always say, if I agree with someone, I'm going to say it, like, oh yeah, what they said was true, or I co-sign it, etc. Or if I disagree, then I'm gonna also say, hey, I don't agree with that. I think the major problem is, and I think Dwan said something about this, and that if the person who's the main voice or a big voice in that group or that specific movement say, nah, what that person is saying isn't true, or they're like negating what you're saying and saying don't listen to them, and everyone else is starting to shame you because that one person said it, that's where the issue comes in. That it's like and it's like when people are giving out information about stocks and stuff like that, and they say, don't listen to anybody else about stocks except for me. That's when it starts to get dangerous because now you're saying you can only get information from one person and one person has all the information. That's where my problem comes in at. And I probably might misquote this, please forgive me, Dewan, but there are no perfect messengers, just perfect messages. Like I feel like everyone isn't a perfect messenger and the message they're giving might be fire, but when you start negating what other people are saying, just because their message isn't exactly what you like or that person isn't exactly how you feel they should be, then we should start looking at who's saying, hey, don't listen to them.
Yes, I agree. And that's going to be an uncomfortable realization for a lot of people because you want to follow somebody who has answered questions that you haven't even thought of. There are people out there like that. Our master teacher, who's still around, Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., has thought of questions that y'all haven't even thought of. And it would be very easy to follow someone like him, right? Because he's already asked these questions. He's already got these answers. However, even he knows that things aren't static like that. Things are changing, evolving even. And if you're so stuck on being it or being the ultimate place to go to, then you're not going to learn. And if you don't learn, then how can you teach others? That the master teacher knows that they've never stopped being a student.
Eve, it's that old principle, it's old saying, the answer lies within the question. Sometimes that gets to be a cliche, but it's all the way facts. The answer lies within the question. One thing you learn when you have an anthropology background, if you want to know something about society, it all lies within the questions that you ask. And no leadership should be afraid of questioning, okay, why don't you like this person versus that person? They should be able to explain that to if they're telling you not to listen to somebody else. If they're saying, okay, I don't like that person, but you can do what the fuck you want to do, that's one thing. You know, you don't have to know why I don't like somebody if I don't feel like explaining it. But I'm taking the extra step of saying, okay, now I don't like this person. Now you shouldn't too, or I don't like this ideal or this line of logic, this line of reasoning. That should come up with an answer, with an explanation as to why. And if the person is not explaining that, then it's okay for people to ask questions and find out why. And that's where the answer lies. The answer lies in the question. So don't be afraid to ask questions. While at the same time, this may sound paradoxical or hypocritical, while at the same time, there are definitely dumb questions. And that's also an answer. Sometimes we'll find out how dumb the questionnaire is by the kind of question that they goddamn asked. You talking about A, B, and C, and here come this dickhead talking about some, well, why you hating on DG and F? Well, okay, yeah. Now you're an idiot if you're that kind of person. Somebody has talking about a particular line of logic, a line of thought, and then here you come in talking about something they ain't even bringing up, or you're creating a straw argument, you're creating a point that they never made, and you're questioning that. Then at that point, the rest of us need to sit back and look at, okay, this person got questions, but that nigga's a problem because every goddamn question that they have is either a straw argument, it's a post hoc. It's some kind of fallacy, and it has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about. So again, the answer lies in the question. If it's a good question, we can get a good solid answer. That's gonna make our point of view even stronger. If it's a dumb question, we could look at the nigga asking a question and be like, "Who the fuck is you? And why the fuck are you distracting us from where we trying to go with this stupid ass question?" So either way it goes, the truth get answered.
Facts. I love that. I love that. The answer lies in the question. And we can we can glean from these conversations if we're going to sit back and pause. I hope y'all check out the replay because sometimes I try to do that. I don't like to hear me, so it's very hard. But y'all say some of the most amazing things that I have to actually go back and listen to it again because it's like, whoa, you're absolutely right. Everybody doesn't need the mic. But if you don't give it to them, you won't know where this person's coming from. So thank you, Devon, because I need those reminders sometimes. Go ahead, Mark.
So I want to first say that, and I was hearing you saying challenge these people as the black carcass because they're not a carcass; they're a dead body of people. And as a 50-year-old man, I'm telling y'all, most people 50 and older is some lying motherfuckers. Okay, so y'all remember that part, right? They a bunch of goddamn liars. And that's all they do is lie. When you run into those, there's very few people over 50 gonna give y'all the real truth. Not only are they liars, they scared of white folks. And so they want you to acquiesce. That's why they make you the bad guy, especially if you're younger. They gotta make you the bad guy because you challenging that fear that they have of these crackers. And so I went through it for 25 years. So I can tell y'all back from experience. being arrested almost 200 times, challenging the system, being violent toward the union bosses and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I took that gang banging mentality that I learned from the streets and the penitentiary and transferred it over into politics. I ran for city council twice. I'm a developer now, and so I just got a different mindset. I don't know what I don't have no sense to be scared of shit, and I get worse as I get older, not better. All right, because they don't change. Everybody that's older is not your elder. Everybody in leadership is not a leader, and is not your leader. A lot of these people selling y'all the hell out. Okay, and y'all don't have to respect them. I don't give a fuck if it's an old woman, an old man, somebody some kin to you, the pastor. If they're not showing true leadership abilities, which is taking y'all to the next level, get the hell away from them. Because you're gonna spend your next 20, 25 years. You're gonna spend 20, 25 years going in the wrong direction, listening to them just because they're older. A true leader is never gonna tell you trust me and believe in only what I say. A true leader gonna tell you, test what I'm saying. Look up what I'm saying. Go do your research on it. So anytime you hear people telling you that they the only way, get the hell away from them. I don't give a fuck if they're your mom and daddy. All right, they're not the
Mark,
end all be
Mark, I'm
all.
sorry. I
Mm-hmm.
I thought I had hit unmute a minute ago. You said something that I think needs to be reiterated as
Mm-hmm.
many times as possible tonight. And it's, if somebody is telling you to trust their word, then they should be able to provide evidence, receipts, invoices, whatever you want to call it, for this is why you should believe
But
me. And it's
even
like,
better than that, because y'all do it already. When he talking, be ask your phone. Do this nigga know what he's talking about? Be asking your phone at the same time. Test that information that he coming with.
Yes, that's
You know.
exactly what I want to be repeated. Y'all need to continue. When somebody says, check me, you need to, because
Yes.
I guarantee you, not you, Mark, but to people,
Hmm.
they're
But
not,
to me too.
y'all
It
are
goes to me
not
too.
doing that. You're
Hmm.
not checking up on this information.
Hmm.
You're just following the person's confidence, and I get that because it's real easy to do that. But once you start doing the paperwork check, come on, y'all know about paperwork checks. At least if you've been listening to me for any real length of time, we check paper over here. Like, so if somebody is telling you to test it, you should. So to anybody listening to me, I'm never gonna act like I'm the authority on things as much as I have thoughts on things. So please look up what we've been talking about tonight, at least specifically with regards to uh, so far what we've talked about. We've only talked about cults, at least the cult of Black empowerment, which kind of has an origin in culture, and that culture of us trying to keep ours with us, and then other people wanting to share it. That's what we're having to deal with, and that's why we might have these different sects of people who say, just listen to what I'm saying because I'm the way of keeping our stuff ours. But is that the way? Is that how we're supposed to go about it? And does it work? If it works, then there should be examples of it working. And if it doesn't work,
And that's one of the things you ask them. That's one of the things. Definitely one of the things you ask them. Well, take me where y'all doing this at then. Show me where it's working. All right. Test them. Don't you let them tell you just because they 30, 40 years older than you that automatically everything that they say is the gospel. Because some things we may speak on, we don't know what the hell we talking about. We just talking out of our ass because it sounds good, right? So you testing it. Look, look. I'm in Chicago, y'all, and anybody else in Chicago knows this. The Nation of Islam is headquartered here. Operation Push is headquartered here. The AKAs is headquartered here. The Pan African is headquartered here with the
Chicago
Cobra.
is the capital of Black America.
Yeah,
That's just what it is.
exactly. But I want to say this though,
Yeah.
and I want to say this: with all these nigga organizations headquartered here, let me tell y'all something. All of them, all they do is talk. They don't build shit. They don't own a significant amount of any damn thing. And you can get all of them in the room and you see me run. They know me already. I run all that shit down on them. They don't run nothing. They don't own nothing. They work through the week, you know what I'm saying, for these same so-called white supremacists they hate so much. And then on the weekend, they put their dashikis on mentally or physically. Talking good black shit. The new Black Panther Party boy, I walked into him downtown. He just walking and kissing Becky and turned the corner and walked right in my face. I ain't seen him no more. He joined it. He left the new Black Panther Party and everything. So when you see it, when you're in a city like this and unemployment, poverty, crime, bad schools at an all-time high, either them people don't know what the hell they talking about or they don't give a damn. And whichever way it is, y'all as younger generation, get with some older people that are real, and then y'all move forward. Get the hell away from these people. I don't care what their names are, and who I don't care how famous they want you to believe that they are. If they can't take you to where they putting shit together, building people and building communities, fuck them. And you don't owe them no respect.
Hey, Mark, to
Yeah.
go on to what you, I appreciate you for saying that, Mark. But to go further, what you saying, the key questions are those questions that they taught us in the seventh grade, or fifth grade when we started doing essays. Answer who, what, when, where, why, and how. Those are the questions. If they say this is what needs to get done, okay, who do we have in line for executing this thing? If they say this is the plan, okay, who's going to execute it? Where are we going to have this meeting? Where are we going to do it? When? What time? What's the purpose? You know, who, what, when, where, why, and how are we going to move through with it? Anyone who has a for real plan that's of any substance can answer those questions. You cannot go to a bank and say, "Hell, I need a $50,000 line of credit," or I'm not sorry, a $5 million not a $50,000 line of credit ain't shit. You can get that, but like a $5 million line of credit, and you want to build something. You said, "Okay, I'm going to the bank. I want to build something." Okay, who? The first question is who? Who owns the title? First off, who owns this? Do you even own this motherfucker? That's the first question the bank's gonna ask. Is your name on the deed of this bitch? Do you have the authority to even make this take a loan on this? Who? Where? What's the address? When is it gonna be done? And when do you plan on having it completed? Why is it like what's the purpose? Is it a single family residence? Is it a multi-home? Is it a vacation property? Is it a second property? And how? Who do you have? What are the blueprints? Who's going to do this thing? What are the steps beginning through end? And without having that answer, you don't get no fucking money. And we got to start treating these people who call themselves leaders the same way. I know we got to get to more people, so I just want to make it quick.
No, that's real talk. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Dwan. Go ahead, Marcus. It's on you. And to the room, thank you all for being patient while we have this conversation. It is going to be deep, and I am giving some room for some words tonight because I think that so far nobody's abused the privilege. Devon will get you out of here if you start to take advantage of my charity tonight. But 2024, let's go. Go ahead, Marcus. It's on you.
Now, I just want to say excellent points being made, across the board with Dewan and Mark. And I think that, with anybody, if you choose to follow or listen, you always want to observe their central priority and their central fear. A lot of times their fear will inform whatever their priority is. If you look at white supremacy, the primary fear was the genetic annihilation, and it, their survival became the priority, right? So if you look at anything that we do or people that may have a platform that we listen to, we want to always be observing based on them in totality, what they're saying, what they're doing, what they're not doing, their patterns, right? What information they provide, but you'll always be able to see their priority and what their fear may be. And you always want to observe that in anybody you deal with, any kind of partnership or any sort of group or anything like that, because it's very, and also to go off of that, we want to make sure that we and I think this was said earlier, but just remaining objective and having that critical thinking, being able to take what is valuable and separate things, because it's very easy to just blindly follow somebody, right? And we see that with like a lot of the celebrities and things like that. It's very easy to just follow whatever somebody does, because that takes the work off of our table. We don't have to investigate, we don't have to research, we don't have to when Neely Fuller says something, we don't have to read anything after that. We can, just certain people, if they have something that we connect with, to just blindly follow that can't be, in our nature, because, it could be detrimental. And so, we don't want to give people just lifetime passes to where we follow any and everything that they put out, or any and everything that they do, because like the brother was saying, there's a lot of people that are in so-called leadership positions, who their priority is keeping their pockets where they need to be. Their priority is to have a so-called position and a status over other black people. Their priority is safety, and not the empowerment of the black collective. So knowing that these people exist, knowing that these people are out here, it's definitely imperative to be vigilant about the type of people that you interact with, and that we follow as a whole.
Yes, absolutely. I don't want to belabor that point because I feel like it is a point that's going to be reiterated a bunch of times tonight. And we're still just on the first part of my thought, which was cults. And like I said earlier, cults, gangs, religion, I think that they can all be interchangeable depending on the conversation, depending on the context of the conversation. You got religious gangs. I mean, literally, there were crusaders. That's like a gang of people who were going to places, and if you didn't do what they were saying with regards to your beliefs, but really it was all racism, white supremacy, and colonization. So these terms have negative connotation because of them people. However, can we use it? And if we can, are we using it the way that it needs to be used so that we can get what we need to get? We're in a time right now, like right now. It's January 1st, 2024, wherever you are on the world. I think, like right now in this hour, maybe it's the same day for everybody, but maybe there are other places where it's already tomorrow. But my point is, why not now? Why can't now be the time where we say that we're all on the same shit, at least here in America, because that's where I am. That's my square, my geopolitical square. Why can't we all be on the same shit? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, why don't you? Uh, that Negro Jammin', peace to you. Welcome to the stage. I think the mic is on you first.
Yes, ma'am. Salute to the host. Salute to the co-host. Great room. Great subject. All of everything we've kind of touched on. So I'm going to give my spiel. Peace, power, and Negro reparations, specifically to the descendants of the Black American Negroes who built this country with slave labor per the lands promised in Special Field Orders 15, January 16th, 1865. Damn. Cults, gangs, and religion. And before I even get into that part, brother Mark Carter, I always wondered why you resonated so tight. I like heard your words even when you was snap casing on people. I was like, but the Negro's right. It was, we've been to that box and it either makes you or breaks you. I'm glad to see you on the making it side of that. And yeah, it makes sense why I clicked with you, or my minds, our minds clicked. So to answer the question of the room, cults, gangs, religion. I say that I heard a young brother talking on, just a reel, and he said the same three words, and this was like 2 days ago. And he said they all that needs to be our militia. That those entities like that, they need to be the ones stepping up and really going to bat. If it nothing else, supporting us 100% more for the religion part. I would say support and thoughts and support financially and all these things. But as far as cults and gangs, if they are our people, they need to get behind us and push, or get in front of us and push harder, one of the two. So I appreciate that kind of segues with what you just said, just Eve.
Actually, that
It,
Negro, let me ask
yes,
you because you were saying about I'm gonna just mute you because it's a little bit of feedback, but don't go. You were just saying about the gangs pushing the group. You meant like actual gang, like gangs, or do you mean just groups of people who can be identified as gangs? Like you might have a gang of nuns, you might have a gang of deltas. What do you mean by that? Because maybe there's something there.
right. No, the young brother, and like I said, I stuck with what he was saying more or less, and I feel it. He was talking about all the gangs, GDs, folks, Crips, Bloods, all of them be our protective class or our barrier between. I was talking about literal gangs, like if they were to somehow we could enthrall them in truly getting on code and us realizing what potential we have in ourselves, and for them to kind of become that shield for our people, or that front, what do they call it, the front row, or
The front
the
line. Okay. No,
front the front line.
I agree
Yes,
with
ma'am.
you because if they're saying that they're already ready to go, then why aren't they outside? I don't know that they're not outside, but I hear you, and I think that that thought could be considered for the room. So I appreciate that. I'm gonna keep it moving. Stay on stage if you want to contribute some more. But we got Miriam. I want you to go, but then I really want to hear what Sunny has to say. So, um, peace. Miriam, are you there? Peace, Sister Miriam.
Yes, I'm here, sister. Peace to you.
Look, before you go, let me ask you, because you
mm,
seem to be a woman who has seen how different groups have interacted across what we've been doing, and are I don't know, would you say that they're different gangs? Like you got the you've got religious gangs of Black empowerment, and then you've got political gangs of Black empowerment, or are they all the same?
First and foremost, yes, I be in a lot of platforms, and I tend to speak to people of our lineage. That group thing is a very dangerous word that he put forth or implemented, and then to bring gangs up while we're having certain conversation. It's a place and a time and place for that, and you have to be careful, of course, what you say on this stage and many other public platforms, because I'm not trying to get hit with mob action or none of that, because some stuff just sounds a little oppy to me. That's me in my opinion. And you know what I'm saying? Everything not meant to be put on Front Street. And remember, we're being listened to, and they are going to use our own words and some of the things we say on these public platforms against us. We are already aware that they use WS think tanks, so why would we give them certain ammunition? I'm just saying, be a little more crafty, be a little more elegant, and a little more wise, and a little more, say what you got to say, but say less. So I'm moving to school of that. And as far as what Brother Mark was saying, I agree with a lot of what he was putting down. But then again, um, all people over 50, because I know a lot of people over 50. I'm a millennial. I think I'm right at the end of that. And you know what I'm saying? So our generation thought a little, different. We ushered in what the old was doing. We opened it up and made consciousness something to be, not only proud of, but actually go out there and put our shoulders to the wheel and work it. Because you know, we wouldn't have Professor Black Truth, we wouldn't have Jason Black, we wouldn't have Tariq Nasheed, we wouldn't have a lot of other brothers and sisters that are present now doing what it is that they do.
Actually,
So,
Miriam,
hmm?
let's hit the elephant in the room because I know people are in here being funny. Jason Black, Tariq Nasheed, Professor Black Truth. I've me personally, have gotten into arguments with people who are more of a Tariq Nasheed person than a Jason Black person, or a person who is
Mm,
more of a Professor Black Truth person than a Tariq Nasheed person. And it's like, all right, so now you've got Nasheedians and you've got, I don't even know what you would call other people, but it's like you've got these different gangs inside of the gang. And is
uh-uh.
that productive? Are we all still thinking about the same thing when you've got people fighting
No,
each other
you have a
inside of the
lineage, and
same thing?
you have a lineage, and you have people with different beliefs, different mindsets. That's what happens when you have critical thinkers, right? And especially when some people may have a master teacher that is their favorite, or whatever that may be. But to say gangs and groups and all that, that's very, like I said, that's a very great dangerous knowledge or words to say, because they far from that. This is one lineage, one movement, even though different people choose to have different acronyms, whether they want to be FBA, Freedmen, Negro, which FBA and Freedmen is, you know what I'm saying? And you have all these others. So it's still what we are. We still are Black American. We are foundational Black American freedmen. Children, descendants of chattel slavery. And then we also have a mixture because a lot of our ancestors are indigenous to this soil. So, you know, as far as what people say, I'm one to never give a flying, leaping pig what others say. When you talk about that sort of thing, and they need to grow the hell up, because it's about um, our reparations, it's about um, our protections, anti FBA hate crime bill. It's about stopping HR 4321. It's about, the pressing issues. And out here, those of us who give and do what they can on these front lines in these streets, it's not a damn joke. So for those people who want to play those games, then that's on them, you know, because I consider myself as one of the people on the front line, one of the people on the vanguard. You know what I'm saying? And y'all know how I put down work. If any of you were ever present in any of the spaces that I be in, especially the ones that I co-host or host. So it it's just very asinine, and it's moronic, for people to be running around here playing at this point, thinking it's funny, thinking it's a goddamn game. Well, we all have our own minds, and you're supposed to know what critical thinking is. No one's supposed to blindly follow anyone, or you're not your own leader. If you're a grown ass man and woman, you're your own leader, and the code is the leader. So it's time out for that. And like I say, a lot of people who are in their age groups that I mentioned, the three big ones. The one B will be considered new black media. Yourself, E, myself. Of course, you have Afro Elite. Of course, you have Black Alpha. Of course, you have B Stiller. Of course, you have those brothers and sisters, Sister Vicky Dilly. All of these people. You know what I'm saying? Who are certified and known to have put in the work, and out there hands down on the streets and doing what it do, and their significant others, and those certified, on codified FBA freedmen that are out here doing the do. And our brothers and sisters who are out here pushing and stomping, straight from the soil, like Chef and all of them, Sonny and all of them, shit, Racer Bow and all of them. Shout out love and peace across our whole FBA got dang on lineage. Like I tell a person, I'm neutral until you show me otherwise. No one's above being G checked. No one's above being vetted, but we do it with love and grace because we from the same lineage. But we don't take kindly to ops or turncoats. And if you are found out, you're gonna be hung out to dry as far as what we saying verbally and ostracized from the community. Period. Point blank. And we tired of folks trying to infiltrate and come into our black grassroots reparation movement. We don't have time and games for it. And I'm about that life. I don't only get down with my words. I'm telling you, you meet me in person, I'm the nicest, kindest, beautiful woman you ever want to meet. Ain't that right, the one B? I'm a very tall, thick, nice, beautiful sister. And I got them hands and I got them things. It's your choice. You know what I'm saying? I'm not threatening nobody. Power tools. You never know when you need them. So always come prepared because you never know what tool you need to finish the job or get the job done and be prepared. That's all I got to say. And peace and love. And let's stop this oppie bullshit, childish ass talk. Represent, put down the knowledge because we have to do this not only for ourselves but our mini me's for our future lineage. And brothers like the one being Jason Black who don't have children do have children spiritually, knowledgeably. They have given back and given so much. So the lives and many people that they touch every day through their wonderful works, salute to you. Salute to all of those and our great elders and master teachers who are still living. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them and not only giving them their flowers while they are here, we also need to dig in our pockets. If we could afford Jordans, if we could enjoy throwback jerseys, if you could do that snapback hat, ladies, if you could and sit up there and want red bottoms and all these unnecessary purses, not saying that anybody in here is on that type of materialistic level, but if your ass is and you make a decent living, we need to start supporting our master teachers and our elders. And the one B is dubbed one of them. Yes, he's kind of young, but he's old enough, and he got some skin in this game. And I love you, brother, and I love you, sister Eve. I love myself. You gotta have self love. I love you, sister Giselle, Miss G. I love you, sister Afro Puffs. Shout out to my strong black brothers in the room. We have to give love and grace to one another. FBA Empress, all of you all. Those who are out here doing the work and making sure we push it on and stay strong, we gonna do it. And please come out and support Brother Marcel and Brother Black Alpha and his queen. January the 17th. What is that in North Carolina? It's in Biloxi, North Carolina. Please come out, family. If you are within reach,
Put it up in the
I don't know
jumbotron
how to
for us
do
so we
that.
can
My
go
sister
back
E,
to it.
can you do it? And I rest my case.
All right,
Thank you, family.
all right. I want to go to something real quick. Either that Sister Man said about as far as because you mentioned the new black media. When I came in, I was speaking from more of a holistic point of view, and I was talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce and all them people. But let's go into the and I made my point quick so I can get to Sunny. Um, when it comes into to what's going on with the new black media and how people can play one against the other, that's some corny ass shit that people got to stop doing, man. It's like to me, that's just the weakest shit. That's honestly the reason why I don't do other Twitter spaces. I only do my Twitter space and Eve's Twitter space, and and I'll do some other ones when I can catch them. But 98% of Twitter spaces I don't do because it's too much of that gang banging going on. When at the end of the day, we all 95% agree with each other on most on 95% of political issues. It's just that one of them niggas rubbed you the wrong way because of something they said or whatever, or their personal philosophies on things. So I don't get into that shit. And that's something right there that there's fighting over who to listen to has got to be the absolute worst thing we could be doing at this time and what we have going on. We got a lot of shit be going on. Man, if people gonna listen to whoever the fuck they vibrate with or don't listen to. And just because somebody don't listen to one of the new big three, don't mean that they're not about black empowerment. Maybe all three of them niggas rub some people the wrong way. That don't mean that those people don't like black people. It means that maybe just they have a different point of view. And at the end of the day, last I checked, ain't none of this racism, white supremacy shit being solved. So the answer's gonna come from all different points of view. And be secure. It's all about being secure within your own point of view, respecting the next, and also respecting when you can't work with somebody. Some people you just not gonna fucking work with. Some people you're just not gonna like. Like I said before, I'm never going to listen to Yvette Carnell. And people who are in the ADOS, that's cool. I listened to her at one point. When I saw how she was and her reaction to Dr. Claude Anderson, I'm never going. I can't. And the way she talked about him, I can never listen to her. And even though she looked like one of my favorite rappers, kid, even though she looked like one of my favorite point guards, Jason Kidd. I mean, she looked like all the light skinned nigga kids. But I'm never gonna listen for that reason. But if somebody does listen to her and they listen to the tone and they feel as long as their heart is in the right place as comes to black empowerment, I'm not gonna play these little bullshit ass gang banging gangs because they like the ADOS person. Let's solve these fucking problems and leave that leadership bullshit to the side. Let the people at the top fight amongst themselves. And let's the rest of us stay the fuck out of it.
Real talk. We got to pick a struggle. And if you don't make a certain amount, you really need to be focused on reparations. And then other people, they got moral struggles, you know? They could help us get there faster if they wanted to, but maybe they don't want to because they're also owed. We're all dealing with being owed in different ways. And I think that because, like Dewan just said, the problem hasn't been solved yet, we're gonna have to attack it until it's solved. I mean, it one way hasn't worked yet. So maybe five ways work. I don't know. Do y'all? At least I'd like to think about it when we have these conversations. Um, Peace, Sonny. Welcome to the stage. You have some thoughts tonight.
Yo, peace, Eve. Shout out to the family in the space, man. Sister Miriam, cousin Dewan. Me and Dewan got the same people in the family tree. That shit crazy, but yeah. Shout out to
Yeah,
Mark too. Mark,
go back, what, about 300 years, right?
yeah, yup,
In the 1700s.
yep,
Yeah.
seven, yeah. He posted. I seen he posted the stuff on his Twitter. I'm like, damn, them the same people that's in my family tree. So yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Dewan, man. Mark, this your new. This my fault, y'all. Mark, this your new. That's Mark Carter.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
your new
yeah,
profile, bro.
yeah. Uh
All
huh.
right, I saw following you on that joint.
Yep. Uh huh.
Yeah. Shout out to Mark, man. But yeah, man. Now, great topic, great conversation as always. Um, the whole group think thing. I never was a group thinker. I always was like my own individual person, kind of like a loner. But man, shout out to the Black American family, man. This Happy New Year's, everybody. Um, this is an 8 year, and y'all know me. I always deal with the supreme mathematics, but just to line it up because the supreme mathematics is always right and exact. Uh, this is also an 8 year, through numerology, which means leaving behind a year of introspection and going into a year of prosperity. Also in the supreme mathematics, the eight represents the build or destroy. So this what type of time we going to be on in this year in 2024. We going to build. We going to be on building. We going to see who's building and who's actually destroying. So I find that this conversation, you guys having it, pretty much right on time. With it being the first, and just hitting it up on these topics. The math, the math never lies, man. But that's dope, Eve and Dwan. Um, yeah. So I think that we moving in. Hold on, I just want to say something real quick. Eve, you have a track record and a digital footprint of you know being your own individual and thinking as your own individual. And we could see that just through your digital footprint, and we see the work that you and KD actually do outside. Who people would say come from different hashtags, quote unquote, whatever. But y'all put that bullshit to the side and y'all stop and y'all do your thing and hold down Virginia. And show up to these reparation task force hearings and meetings, and outside, actually moving the goalposts. And that's the type of time we gotta be on, man. We don't got time for none of this. Um, this person is this hashtag, that person is hashtag. And I agree 100% with Dewan, because I mean, I can't listen to Yvette anyway. She got me blocked. I'm pretty sure, Yvette got half a black Twitter block, but I don't even know what I did to her. Never had a conversation, never had an interaction with her, never nothing. I'm just blocked. But I say it like this though, um, because some of your vet's tweets still go viral, and you can still catch them, like, on different news articles and things like that. 85% of the things your vet says, I agree with. And you know what I'm saying? I think that us as grown adults, we just got to learn how to eat the meat and spit out the bones. You know what I'm saying? We can't, anytime, we just throwing the baby out with the bathwater, that's always a bad idea. It's not logical. It doesn't work good in business. It's just I can't really maneuver and operate like that. So I think that, we in a good place right now as far as like the grassroots, goes, Black American grassroots. And I think that 2024 is definitely going to be a great and phenomenal year for us. So I just wanted to, just throw my 2 cents in there of the conversation.
Hey, real quick, Eve. Sonny. Yes, and that's why I agree. Like I remember seeing Eve and KD, in spite of what the people on from other hashtags said, they got together. I remember when I would go into your Twitter spaces, people were like, okay, why is Dewan going in there? And then people on your side was like, I don't trust Dewan because he hosts Tariq's comedy show. And my response to all that shit when people would bring that shit up would basically be a middle finger, because if that's as high as your consciousness goes, you can't catch what I'm throwing anyway. You dig? So um, we gotta transcend above that, man. We can't be giving a fuck about what somebody's gonna think because you dealing with somebody from a different hashtag, especially if they ain't putting no goddamn money in your pocket. It's different if you work with somebody and then like, okay, nah, this is where we make our bread. Don't go over there because that's gonna affect our bread. Okay, yeah, yeah, hell yeah, we a team. This where we getting our money. Man, nigga, ain't nobody getting no goddamn money in no fucking Twitter space. These motherfuckers is getting likes, thumbs ups, laughing emojis, and 100 signs and black fists. Nigga, that is not enough for you to don't not fuck with somebody that you fuck with. If you fuck with somebody, you fuck with them. If you don't, you don't. And even when it comes to fucking with them, just because somebody fuck with somebody on Twitter don't mean they necessarily gonna be friends and hanging out in real life. Hell, 98% of us will never meet, and that's fine. There's levels to this shit. You do what you do in these spaces, exchange some goddamn information, and then get back to your fucking life. Life is lived, not tweeted. And motherfuckers get this shit twisted when it become a Twitter thing, and they get all woompty wamped and boomty bamped and intertwined and intermingled and all this weirdo shit. Man, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, people be getting mad at me, especially on Facebook, when some shit that I say. I'm black first, I'm all that. But I'm also a motherfucking asshole. And if something feels funny to me, I'ma say it. And I don't give a fuck about how nobody feel. I'm gonna talk about any nigga I feel like talking about. If you tweet something to me and I think it's stupid, I'm not gonna come with some high-minded response because we are all black first and we all carry the same flag. No, if you say something stupid, I'm gonna talk about you, and if it was really stupid, I'm gonna talk about your mama too. And yeah, because this is fucking Twitter, it's not real goddamn life. Niggas need to get down with that. This social media shit is fun to me. So yeah, I might don't look at me as somebody that be like, oh, do I be doing this and this? They got a documentary coming out. Why are you talking like that? Because I feel like it, motherfucker. This is Twitter. Like we got to get back to goddamn reality and what this shit really is. And to close off my point, what Sonny was saying about eight, I tend not to get into my cards on Twitter too much. I probably should more. But I did a show yesterday. This is the Eight of Hearts year in the cards. Eight of Hearts. This is the time when you write about that with the Supreme Mathematics, man. It all lines up. What he talking about? The Supreme Mathematics, astrology, cardology, numerology. All of it's the same. It's the sciences that our ancestors left us. The breadcrumbs to get back to ourselves, to get back to source. And for those of us who aren't scared to pick those breadcrumbs up, you can find a lot within it. You know what I mean? But within this Eight of Hearts here, this is a time of revelations of people's true intentions. It's all about people. where your passions are. So people who are passionate about things, if whoever you following, a lot of shit's gonna come out this year about this. And just whatever comes out about your favorite people that you follow, believe it. Like believe your heart. Believe your I'm not saying believe the news. Believe what your heart says about the whole situation. Don't talk yourself out of it because you're in some cult of personality. If your instincts are like, man, something about this shit ain't right, believe them motherfucking instincts. Don't believe clips, don't believe other people, and definitely don't believe niggas' explanations of shit. Believe your motherfucking spirit when it come down to it.
Man, and we've been talking about spirit pretty heavy, at least the past week. So I love how things can be um, cyclical, but I don't like circular conversations. So I don't want to stew too much here. And I see Miriam, you got your hand back up. And Marcus or Mark, if you had something else to say, you definitely can before I move on to our next point. But we've been talking about following blindly, and Sunny, you made me you made me think about this. I don't think about this. I never think about me and Katie, right? Because it's real life, right? So in real life, this is what we're doing. And then online, I have no clue a lot of time what's going on in different people's circles of beef or whatever, because when it comes down to it, if people are doing what they say they do, if they are who they say they are, then the math will math. I got a whole line right now about the math. The math has to math, y'all. And if it doesn't, it's probably because we haven't been paid reparations. So everybody's out here moving stupid. And I mean, no disrespect to anybody who's not moving as stupid as other people are moving. Because let's be honest, if you haven't solved the problem, then you are also moving stupid. So, you might not be a crackhead, but you still got crackheads. And that's a problem that we all have to deal with. Okay, that's another point for another day. But, Sonny, I never think about me and Katie. But to the point, people are going to click with who they click. And then when it comes down to doing what needs to be done, if we could all be there, if all of the people who are supposed to be there are there, then we've already won. Why? Because it's more of us than them. Literally, like across the board. They're in the red. And I don't think we think about the numbers as much as we should. So if you don't believe me, Google it. You've got a computer right now that you're using to be in this Twitter space, or to listen to this Twitter space, or to listen to this YouTube, depending on how you check this space out. The information is out there, and according to all the white people, there's not a lot of them, and there's way more of us. And then you've got them trying to identify as us, which is kind of weird. And then you've got us trying to identify as them, which I guess can make more sense because they're trying to pad the numbers. But I don't think people understand the sciences, which would include the numbers and, how people are here and, the different groups of people. I don't think people understand that. I don't think people understand the intelligences. Like, you've got technical people and you've got emotional people. And then you've got people following people blindly because they don't know themselves, and then they don't know why they're listening to certain people or why certain people are speaking to them. So then you've got the cult of personality. Now it's a popularity contest, like Dewan said and other people have said earlier. Well, I can't listen to you because I don't like you. And it's like, well, nothing I said really was wrong as much as you just don't like me, and that's cool. But if we're all out here to get what we're supposed to get, why are you so focused on me? Unless you don't want me to get what's owed to me. And if that's the case, then you off code. It's AF. I edited myself in real time. Aren't y'all proud? Okay. Anyway, um, Marcus, I want to give the mic to you first so that we can spark off the religion part of the conversation. Do you see any of the cult gang like, hive like, or any of that in the religious sector? And is it something we can use? Because we have the conversation in my house all the time. I didn't used to think that they could be used, but I'm starting to think that they can be used if we're all having the same thought. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. And I think what I was alluding to earlier is like if you kind of look at on the one, like if you had a piece of paper on the one side, Black empowerment movement, and then you draw a straight line, and then on the other side, something like Christianity, right? The the similarities are why if you look at the people who are like the people who are a part of whatever group or whatever religion, the question would be, why are you there, right? And for me, when it comes to religion, what I've observed over time, because I'm not, I kind of grew up going to church and things like that, but I was always like, uh, everybody has their own spiritual journey and things like that. And a couple of things that I noticed with the religious community specifically is that you'll find all like all different reasons that motivate people to join that. Some people are a part of a religious community because they needed some sort of redemption from something, right? So they go for their own particular healing and to, for their own sort of spiritual health. Other people, I've seen are motivated to join because of a superiority. Like they feel as though they want to be a part of a religious community so that they can be looked at as close to God, or they can be looked at as somebody who has the opportunity or the right to judge other people and to talk down to other people, right? Um, and I've seen people do it for clout, for recognition, for image, right? For status. I've seen you see all of these different, for safety, for sanity. So there's all different reasons that motivate people to be a part of a religious community, and I think it's the same here, right? With people that may be in the Black empowerment community who may have a platform. Well, everybody's motivated by something different, and I think the way that we progress is to constantly refine the the people, or I guess obviously vet the people involved, but to be vigilant when it comes to what's motivating people to be in this. Is it for the collective to grow? Is it for the channels to grow? Is it for status, clout, recognition, all of those different things? And I think it can be dangerous when, because somebody was mentioning a lot of the infighting and the back and forth without reason. Sometimes you have to, like the sister said earlier, sometimes you got to ostracize certain people because they are actively trying to sabotage the movement as a whole, and that's necessary as well. But a lot of the kind of bickering over like superficial topics and things like that, that has to be observed as well. But it's the deeper question, and to the question about can it be used. I think it don't matter what we call it, as long as we're making progress. And I think that's really the key of it, right? We call it we definitely don't want to call it no gang, and I ain't trying to get nobody indicted, but if we calling it, people call it a cult, people call it a religion, or whatever the case is, whatever we doing, are we making progress, and are we identifying people who are countering that progress, who are actively countering that progress, causing a problem, causing issues, who are here for the wrong reasons, who are here to fix their own, insecurities at the expense of others in the movement, right? And that's really, when you see me doing these spaces every Tuesday, because I'm trying to, my priority is to heal us so that more of us aren't hindering our own progress and the progress of our people based on emotional wounds that we don't know how to solve and we don't know how to heal from. That's really the issue when it comes to, okay, why can't we make progress in this area, or why every time this you go in certain spaces, this person's fighting with this person over nothing, this person's arguing with this person over nothing, this person is trying to step over this other person to get to this person, because when they can get over there and get more followers or more attention, or get their ego stroked.
Marcus,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And I know that room hates when I do this, but I have this lingering, nagging thought. I really need to ask you this question. You were talking about why we can't get ahead. And I keep thinking about Brother Polite. So while he might have some really good things that is he's said, right? At the end of the day, he might have been fucking somebody's daughter, right? Or trying to fuck somebody's daughter, and maybe you are familiar or not with the situation. Um, when we've got these personality followings, I just I couldn't stop thinking about what had gone on with him and what we've got going on with us. And if you're talking about us getting in our way, then how do we attack that? Because you are all about healing. So heal the trauma. We've got epigenetic trauma. Okay. We've got an epigenetic memory. Okay. Some people don't even want to acknowledge that. I know you know that. So now what? Do we just tell them focus on reparations? Because that's where I'm at. Like, look, they might not even have the mental or emotional capacity, or they might not be able to take it. It's a lot. So we can just give them something to focus on. Or is there a better way?
If I understand you correctly, I think that when it comes down to, there's two different sides. There's either ready and open to, just healing and educating yourself, evolving information, these different things, right? And there's not open, right? And individuals who, again, who want to show you, read a bunch of books and then regurgitate a bunch of things on YouTube to cover and mask the fact that they're behind the scenes traumatizing kids and all, that sort of thing. I'm not here for that, because that's obviously somebody who would rather, instead of self-reflect, heal for the sake of the youth and the movement and the community and the progression, they would rather use this movement to hide themselves or to mask whatever they're doing behind the scenes. And the masking agent is what gets us in trouble. It gets us in trouble a lot of times, because when we use other people as scapegoats for our emotional wounds, it causes us to continue to torture people. It gives us an excuse to continue to be a thorn in the side of the collective, and eventually they're going to cause the ship to crash again. We can't afford to allow for just certain people to just continuously express and offload trauma and toxicity onto people who are actually trying to be productive and progressive in the movement, who are actually trying to affect change. There's zero time for that. And that's where I stand on it. I got hope and love and all that. But if you show me that you would rather traumatize and drive people crazy and commit crimes rather than view yourself objectively and make a change, because that's where the sacrifice is. It's like, and that's why I got a lot of love for the people who behind the scenes, they may feel, nobody really wants to be accountable. It's not easy, right? Nobody wants to be self-reflective. Sometimes it's not easy. The things you've been through, the mistakes you made, the regrets, it's not always easy. But if you're willing to do that behind the scenes and hop into a space or go on the internet or do whatever, and do what you need to do to improve yourself, to be a viable asset to your people, and to represent your lineage, I respect the hell out of you. And I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do, whether it's convenient or not, to make sure you got the tools to heal yourself, and to stop the transgenerational transfer of the trauma. Because there's a lot of people who want to do that, and I respect it.
That's dope what you said. Now, I see a fusion between what you're saying and what Eve was saying. The question that you're asking Eve about going tying it back into the church and should we get put him on the singular focus? Um, because we got to understand this when it comes to the trauma. The people that we see as so-called leaders, you got to understand most black people are traumatized. We have not worked through our shit, and I'm talking about 95 out of 100. If we did, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in. Like we're not as stupid people. We're comfortable in the situation because you got to be fucking traumatized to be comfortable and to be dealing with the shit that we dealing with. You know, that's some for real trauma. So the people that step out and they're perceived as leaders, they're working through their trauma too. And a lot of people use black empowerment the same way the church is used. It's like these are organizations with like-minded people, and there's not an official organization, unofficial organizations of groups of people who think alike. And most people, when it comes to their traumas, whether it be intergenerational trauma or personal traumas that's recently happened, they instead of facing their traumas head on, they find a religion to satiate themselves. They find a group of people with similar type traumas to deal with and talk to, and you can talk about these things. You can use that central rallying point to judge other people who are on the same thing you're on. That's where the whole I'm B1 versus FBA versus Friedman bullshit comes from. That comes from I'm first AME versus the holiness versus the Pentecostal. It's the same shit, that's going on, and it's trauma on top of trauma, and so that's why I put it back on us as a people because we as a people have to change our expectations. We've been lied. See, what happened is when we were taught history, we were probably, for the most part, taught that Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and they did all this work. You're not talked. They don't talk about, the starting point in 1923 in Chicago, and they don't talk about A. Philip Randolph and Paul Robeson, and those are just leaders, the regular, the day to day people who got them there. They don't tell you that there were over 100 armed militias throughout the state of Mississippi in the 1950s that protected Dr. King when he came to town after that one ass whooping he took. They don't tell you about all the mothers and fathers and children, the families that got together that created goddamn cocktail bombs and pipe bombs down there in Mississippi, and they were ready to ride on the motherfucking police office if they didn't let certain freedom fighters go. They don't tell you about that. What made the civil rights movement was the people, not the leaders. The leaders responded to the people. So what that means is this: we got to know that we got hurt people leading people, and that's going to be 95% of the people that we listen to is going to be traumatized. And if you dig underneath the hood, you will be disappointed. That's why. So you have to understand that there are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages. Follow the message. Whatever person you perceive as leader is that you take their message and you apply it to your day-to-day life, and that's how you help black empowerment for those of us ready to go there. Going back to what Eve said about should we just give them a singular focus on reparations, I totally agree with that because most of these niggas, especially hurt niggas, they think the black man down the street got their money. They think, oh man, this person in black empowerment is making all that money off that people. How he got all that money? What about my money? Even though that person may perceive themselves as leaders, they still don't understand. Just because that black empowerment person over there is making more money than you, he ain't taking shit from you. Reparations is gonna fix all this shit. So when people get mad at another black person for having more than others, then we should tell them, hey, look, yes, I know you think that person down the street that drives a Cadillac and has a bigger house has your money. No, he's not the one that has your money. Tell little Junebug not to rob him. Your money's up there in all these government handouts to the Ukraine and Israel. And I don't want to use that word. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Twitter. I mean, cereal. Yeah. I didn't say the other word. Yeah. Your money is tied up into that shit, and that's where your reparations comes from. So a lot of people do have a lot going on, Eve, and some people don't have a lot going on. Some people just goddamn stupid. So you just got to point them in a singular direction. So whatever it is, You have every time you think about you being short on your light bill, reparations. Every time your kids say, I want a toy that you can't afford, reparations. Every time you say, I want to move out this neighborhood and into a better neighborhood, reparations. The answer to all that shit is reparations, not the nigga down the street. And I think that's something we gotta do. I'm gonna reset the room for you, Eve, and then I'm kicking right back to you. We're coming up on the second hour of the room. So, and everyone for the most part has spoken. So from here on out, we're going to limit all comments to 2 minutes and less, so we can get back around to everybody. Because, like Eve said, she doesn't like to go all night. And so from here moving out, all comments going to be 2 minutes or less. When we get to that 2 minute mark, I'm gonna jump in and say, okay, cool, good point, and we're gonna move on to the next person. Back to you, Eve.
That's what's up. And constructive conversations don't last all night. I know y'all like, as I do too, like to just exist with people who are like minded. But if we don't get off the app, then we can't get to work. At least that's how it's worked for me. I've really enjoyed what everybody's talked about so far. And I think that we can learn from each other because at least in these spaces, in the spaces that I host, y'all have been really good about being from all sorts of different places of the map of Black empowerment. Whether you are a spiritual person, a numbers person, a political person, a person who doesn't ascribe to any of that, or a person who subscribes to all of it. I think that everybody who's been through these spaces have all been on the same. We need them to cut the check. So, like Devon said, all of your problems will be solved with them cutting the check. And okay, that's not real, but it is. Really, a lot of our problems are resource based. And that math is very simple. You don't want to live in a bad area. Okay, we'll live in a better area. Okay, well, you can't do that if you don't have the money to live in a better area. What's a better area? Do you want to go live with a bunch of white people? I guess you could if you're saying that that's the better area. Why can't you make a better area? Why can't you have an area that's yours? You can't do that without resources, and all of these things are resource based. So I'm gonna get to you. And then I see Big Boda, you came to stage, so peace to you. I'm gonna get to you too. One of the meetings, at least all of the meetings that I can, that we can, the minis go with us. Why? Because I think it's a unified front. I am absolutely using the fact that I have five. We have five minis under the age of 12. And do you know how expensive it is? I'm not saying we can't afford it because as you might not be able to see because you're not friends with me in real life, but if you were friends with me in real life, we're doing all right. But my point is that when you see that it's five minis who are owed what we weren't able to get when they were this age, the people on the task force, it starts pulling at their heartstrings, and I think it's rightfully so, because a lot of times the people like you, like Mark was saying, these olders, not elders, these olders are telling you to think about these other minis, the minis who aren't even from here, who aren't even supposed to be here. Their parents broke all sorts of laws and rules and regulations for them to be here, and now your hard-earned tax dollars have to go towards their education, housing, medicine, and food. Fuck that. Because our minis matter first. Like, did your parents ever used to say, there's starving kids in Africa? God damn it, there's children in Michigan who don't have fresh water. Is that still the same? Because I feel like it hasn't really been solved as much as we just don't talk about it anymore. So, cults, gangs, and religion. I think if we are all in the cult, gang, or religion of reparations, that's a move that they can't do anything but cut the check. Because why wouldn't they? That's the easy way. The easier way, well, we can say less on this app. Go ahead, Sonny.
Nah, just real quick, I was going to say that reparations should be the common denominator and the unifier between all hashtags and Black Americans. That's just flat out. I like my check and my reparations more than I like that, certain individuals. And that's just how people should be. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I need people to run my reparations, man. I'm not gonna let no type of disagreement or no type of beef come in the way of that. You know what I mean? Especially, when I could trace my family and my story back to chattel slavery. And I seen the stories and the gruesomeness that happened to my family. So, that's the type of time that the Black American grassroots got to be on, man. And that's how you kind of cover everything, because I can't be everywhere. I can't be in St. Louis. I can't be in Washington. I can't be in California. I can only, hold it down in my surrounding areas and make sure that I'm putting boots on the ground and I'm doing what I could do. So if you doing what you doing in your surrounding area, then kudos to you. I'm not finna tear that and take that down because I got a disagreement with you or I don't like you. That's silly. So, you know, um, yeah, man. Yeah, this is a great conversation, Eve, man. I just, you know, I, yeah, it's right on time. Um, you
Sonny,
know,
you just made me think about what we were talking about. They're getting in the way of the bag. Like, really, people. And okay, let's just be honest. There were people who did not, I repeat, they did not want to get off the plantation because it was scary for them. But fuck that. I'm sorry. I will come up with a better word for what I'm trying to express to y'all about my anguish and anger about these people who just want other people to be in charge of what's ours. And
and,
that's not the gang. That's not the gang I'm trying to be on, Sonny. Go ahead.
nah, and Eve, the internet is the only place where people can have differences of ideologies and they not like each other. That's why this shit fake as hell to me, because this shit is not it's not present in real life. And I'm glad Dewan hit it on that, bro, because I got people in my family that are Pentecostal, that are Baptist. I got friends that are Hebrew Israelites, that are from the Nation of Islam, this shit only exists on the internet, where if you don't agree with somebody 100% totally all the way through, you don't fuck with them. This shit is fake, man. It doesn't exist in real life. You know what I'm saying? You got family members and you got people in your family that have been voting Democrat for 50, 60 years, and you still go eat dinner with them every Sunday. So I don't, it's weird, man. It's like it's like a real weird thing on this internet, man. Like where you could, if I got one small disagreement with you or you said something I don't agree with, then it's fuck you. That shit is weird.
I agree. The internet is not a real place, but the internet is undefeated because you can die on a hill that you didn't even know that you were on. Shout out to all of the bedwenches who didn't know that that one tweet was going to be the nail in the coffin that said you can't come back over here. Mm-mm. Nah, something in my spirit says that you're dangerous and you might need to stay over there. But that's just my spirit. Big Boda, your hand's been up for a minute. I appreciate your patience because some people are rude, but not tonight. Tonight, y'all have been gracious, and I think that's an excellent way to start the new year. So, happy New Year to the room, Big Boda. If you're there, the mic is yours. We can get your thoughts on what we've been talking about.
Hey, Eve and Dwan, happy New Year to y'all. I'm so happy to be here still. 2024 gonna be a beautiful year, man. I just wanted to add to the conversation. I got a personal experience of people that I know are not from here saying that I'm in a cult for talking about Black empowerment, talking about our unique history in America, foundational Black American history, and standing on that, and saying that we're demanding something for our specific group. And in response to that, uh there's a lot of shaming going on, saying that if you're not subscribing to Pan-Africanism, that you hate all these other groups and you're part of a cult, you're part of a gang, or it's getting to a ridiculous point where we're being shamed for just looking out for ourselves, and that's ridiculous. And I know a lot of other people besides myself have been going through that just for rightfully standing up for ourselves and what we're supposed to get. And, there's nothing wrong with you for looking out for your specific group. That's why I want to point out. And I'm not going to be long at all, but this has to stop where we're tolerating people saying that we're wrong for looking out for our own best interest. And I want to mention that Black empowerment is not just something that we can always just talk about without results. Like Brother Dwan B, he has projects and stuff that we can all gather around and see in the real world. We can see the results of his Black empowerment efforts and preserving our musical history, you know, and honoring our legends in the music game. And so stuff like that's going to be around for years after we all gone. And so that's the most important part of Black empowerment, where you have results to show for it, where you're not just talking and you can show receipts of what you've done in the real world. Like me personally, I work a job and I work my fingers to the bone, but as a result, I'm able to contribute to when Brother Marcel is running a campaign politically, or Brother Tariq has a project coming up. I'm so happy to be able to support with my hard-earned dollars to projects like that. Even when Jason Black has movies and stuff that he's made in the past, I've been able to contribute, and that's what makes it all worth it. Sometimes these jobs, workers to the bone, but when you can turn your money around and use it for your community, that's what makes a difference. Instead of, sometimes we get on here and get the plebiscite babbling back and forth all day. That don't really move the needle as much as having some tangible results in real life. And that's just what I want to express to you guys. But thank you so much for hosting the conversation.
No, that's real talk, Big Boda. Thank you for coming up and speaking those thoughts. It made me think about a tweet from earlier today, and I found it because I want to say, yeah, it was Why They Do Me Like That. She shared something earlier today. It was about nasty ass cave beasts and how they don't use washcloths, right? But it had me thinking about the code words that they use, and they kept saying that the only people that they know who use washcloths are poor people. And it's like, what? That doesn't even make sense. Poor people are not going to go out of their way to get more shit. That, at least that's my thought. And it's like, oh, right, they're talking about black people. Poor is black. So you've got these white people who are codified against us, and they can do it on all of these different levels across all of these different environments, and then we're fighting with each other because we don't have the resources that could keep other people away from our shit or to keep our stuff exclusive. And that math ain't mathing to me. I'm sorry, this year the math will have to make sense, or it's going to have to go, at least to me. You can do funny math if you want to. I don't want to be around funny math people. Okay. Cool Breeze, peace to you, brother. I see you came back up. Actually, not back up. You came on stage. You are new tonight, but not new to the room. So I'm going to get to you, and then we're going to get it back to Sister Miriam. And then, I don't know, if people have some closing thoughts, we might close it out, because it is the beginning of a new year, and constructive conversations don't last all night.
Thank you for that, Eve. Although I got gypped like 3 times, but I'm not mad. Patience and grace.
Not patient.
Um,
Look, Miriam, it's not even that. It's just trying to get to the people who hadn't been on stage, right? And then,
no,
you know
every,
that you got the time.
everybody been on stage. Trust. If they was new, I'll wait. But it's okay. It's okay. I don't mind because everybody, input was wonderful. Um, but
I feel you.
but going back to what you were just saying, negative math, or you're saying the math not mathing. Um, it's it's not that difficult to see. Um, like I said, true to this, not new to this, and anybody who's ever been in the space and heard me speak, or things I have spoken about, I've always said, I don't care what acronym that you choose to go under, if you have, if you're a foundational Black American or others, but I choose FBA, foundational Black American, and then we're going to throw Freedmen in there. Why? Because that's our political term that we must use when we go to collect our checks. Um, it doesn't matter to me. I truly do judge a person by how they get down, how they choose to represent themselves, and not only what's the words coming out of their mouths, but their true actions. Like Brother Dewan B said, you, believe your heart, believe your instinct, your gut. That's something you know. In a way, in that small voice that leads you away from danger. Usually, it's your God voice. It usually is the voice that keep you clear of danger and pitfalls and lion snakes in the grass and all that jazz. You know, you just can't blindly listen and go follow anyone because, like I said, we're all grown men and women. We're our own leaders, and the code is the leader. And if it's not about reparations, as Brother Dewan B was nailing, hitting that hi hat and hitting the 1, 2, and the 3. You know what I'm saying? He was saying, if you don't have light bill money, your mind should be on reparations. If your car broke down, your mind should be on reparations. Even if you're sitting in a Fortune 500 and you know our brothers and sisters in that neighborhood you came from not doing so well because you're not contributing, or what have you, your mind should be on reparations unless you're an ops or a turncoat. Period. So I don't. You have other people like Umar Johnson. You have other people like Yvette Carnell. I'm sorry. Get down with who y'all get down with, but I'm not. And if you certified and codified, you will not get down with those people. Um, I'm not going to listen to a lot of rhetoric and know that you mean our people no good and know that you are doing detrimental things. It comes a time, people, when we go in the emergency room, you're no longer getting bandages slapped on you. We actually have to operate and cut out the cancer, and these people are cancerous. As our other brother was saying that the minister of mental health and wellness, I like to call him, because the brother be on point with a lot of what he's saying. You have to do a lot of healing around here. You have to do a lot of healing, and that's self-reflection, getting yourself together. And a lot of people look in the mirror and they can't even deal with their own realities, let alone coming to you with a truthful mind or a truthful word. So we really do have to just be able to vet someone and have a spirit of discernment. No bull crap when you hear it and when you feel it. And on that. And so what if the world sees us as a so-called cult or a so-called gang or a so-called group, which I say all of that is dangerous, and all of that comes from suspected white supremacists and their think tanks, because we all know that that's not our reality. We are not no group or no game or no culture or no religion. We are simply a lineage, and this is our grassroots movement. But we're gonna act like we're devout, worshipers, if you will. We're gonna get that right. We're gonna do what we need to do. And shout out to a few more of our excellent sisters in the media movement, in this Black grassroots movement, and that would be Nikki the God. That will be also Sister Juicy. That will be also Sister D Tubman. That will be also oh my God, her name is not coming to my mind. Church to my mind, but not my heart. But shout out to them, because it wouldn't be a fair thing if I wouldn't shout the rest of those beautiful sisters in power and might and moving in this movement, that they do so much work behind the scenes that others, are not aware of. Especially Nikki the goddess, the God. I say goddess because your feminine energy. So especially her, Nikki the God. And like I said, our sister Just Eve putting her foot out here, and she's making it happen. She's pushing forward. She's making herself known. She's host, some nice, beautiful heavyweight spaces as well, and Shout out to getting our master teacher, one of our pillars, new black media, Professor Black Truth here. I look forward, ladies. I hope that we all can put our heads together and bring our master elder teacher back out to speak in these spaces before he passed away. That's Dr. Claude Anderson. We need to have him back out here, and so he could be treated with respect and protected, um, done right by the people we know who truly are the vanguard of the Black grassroots. So I'm gonna yield my time, and I know others would like to speak, but thank you both, Brother Dewan B and Sister E, for this wonderful, beautiful space on building. And like I said, if you haven't wronged me, I'm pretty neutral until you show me otherwise. Because I believe in G check, and you better recognize who started the recollection in the G checking phrase. But I love you all, and I do it with grace, peace, and love. I yield my time.
Thank you for those words, Sister Miriam, and definitely shout out to the people that you shouted out because I don't know that anybody's doing it for the shout outs, but we appreciate them. Um, Cults, gangs, and religion. Cool Breeze, you came up on stage and you were a new speaker that I guess Sister Miriam didn't see when she. Okay, that was just for you, Miriam,
You're
because
not
he's
right.
definitely. He is such a gentleman, right? Cool Breeze, the mic is yours, and then we're gonna get to Unk, and then I'm gonna get back to my co-host. Maybe Sunny has a final thought. I don't know if Marcus does either, but we'll wrap this thought up, and then you guys can stew on these heavy thoughts. Maybe it'll put you to sleep. That's what it does for me most times. But go ahead, Cool Breeze, it's yours.
Appreciate what's going on, Sister Eve and brother Dewan B. Happy New Year. Hey, it's all good. I appreciate you, Sister Miriam's knowledge and everything. So it's all good. But I'm not going to be long winded and everything. I've been, hearing you guys been hearing, a lot of saying a lot of good things and stuff. So I'm just going to add to some of the things that maybe or may have not been said already. But one of the things that I'm always, B1 all day, every day, and about reparations because just as Brother Dewan B said, reparations can solve a lot of things that's going on in our society and whatnot. I think one of the things while we waiting on the reparations of whatnot and continue to push forward and all that kind of stuff, um, whatever skill set that you have, I think we can start bringing it back to our communities and start, helping our communities, bringing those resources back into our communities, teaching our youth and et cetera, et cetera. One of the things that even myself, what I'm doing, is doing having a mentorship program and going into our community and actually mentoring um, our young ones or whatnot to where they can have we can teach because that's one of the things for myself growing up out there in Detroit in the streets of Detroit and stuff as to where the mentorship where someone's like, hey there, young blood, here's something different other than the streets, right? Now it's gonna take some leg work or whatnot. Not to say it's not gonna be be all good and all that kind of stuff. It's gonna take a lot of hard work, but I think our youth, I think need have some mentorship programs out there um, to and just our people out there helping the youth because that way we're cleaning up our areas to make it to where our people ain't going out to the suburbs or anywhere else. Just as mentioned earlier, it is a lot of healing that needs to be done in our community, but people that's in those professions or whatnot. And I applaud our brother Marcus that's doing the work, because we need more people like him in our community that's actually going back into our community and helping our people because that's a huge part of the thing that's going on in our communities. It has to be a lot of healing and psychological things going on because there's so much trauma that was been going on to our people that our that's why I like our sister Joy DeGregory. I don't know if you guys listen to her, but she really breaks a lot of stuff down on a psychological level, and our sister Dr. Chris Wilson did a great job. One of our scholars, so we need people like those, and we need to go back into our communities more. Not to say nobody's not doing that, but I think we need more of it to start mentoring, showing people there's different ways as far as these different codes and gangs and religion and whatnot, so we can build our community. And with that said, I'm gonna yield the mic.
I appreciate that. And absolutely, as a business owner, I like that you're always bringing it back to making sure that we're circulating that dollar. That is a way that we can be thinking about each other without thinking about each other, because that's really what I've been talking about all night. If you didn't pick up what I've been putting down, okay, really, it's we need to be on the same page about some stuff. Putting us first, that should be a no-brainer. Really, it should be a no-brainer, but y'all are out here glitching and malfunctioning and not knowing your worth or your value. And trust me, I get it. I've been guilty of this too, but this is a good time right now for us to know that we're worth everything that we've been saying. Like, and if you're not, then what are you saying? You're not worth what's owed to you? You should share it. I saw a poll the other day. I don't remember who posted it, but it asked about if reparations were only feasible if we had to share it, should we still get it? And I don't know how y'all feel about that, but I was floored that it even had other answers. That's my answer. The fact that there are even other answers just bothered me in a big way. And we're never going to win like that. But we could win another way if y'all had another thought. Maybe if you pause to have a couple thoughts. Maybe tonight you've sparked some thoughts and you need to sit with them for a minute and then start talking to the people around you, because if your square's not solid, then you won't really be able to move the way that we need you to move. Not really. You will be a mark, a soft target, and I don't know any gang or religion or cult that needs people who can be targeted off rip because they are weak. We don't need to look weak. I mean, maybe you're scared a little bit, but you don't need to look it. People shouldn't look at you and be like, yes, you are who I'm going to attack because you are going to be the one that falls. I think that that's I think we're past that. I think we can be past that. If we can get past our personality conflicts and our popularity beefs that we've got in this imaginary land, then we're already there. Now we just focus on them people. Literally, focus your eyes on the prize. Um, Unk, peace to you, Unk Rock. The mic is yours. Welcome to the stage. You got some thoughts?
Yeah, piece of reparation to the room. I've just been listening. Everything is on point, man. We just got to put in the work. That's and then we don't have a choice because time is not really on our side, right? So we got to move at warp speed. And those that get it would get it, and they're gonna work act accordingly, right? But what I wanted to come up to tell you was I love that billboard. I want to talk to you about how did that work for you, because that's been like a passion of mine to do that all across the country. So I just wanted to get some information on how that worked for you because it's a brilliant idea and it really says what it is and it sparks curiosity. It'll make somebody want to say, how do I get in contact with these people about this, right? So I think it's a beautiful thing. So if you get time, you could DM me how we could talk about it and stuff. Yeah. Appreciate it though. Great idea.
Thank you. Look, that is another example that I never think about that we should could use. I am just Eve, but it's not just me, right? I got a whole family out here. We are all doing work that needs to be done, we're all having thoughts and communicating with each other about how we can get this done. And the billboards were not, it wasn't just because I wanted it done. It was because we wanted it and needed it done. And then now it's time to see it to fruition. If you don't have a support system, you won't get to see certain things to fruition. And I'm sad for some of you because that is reality. But that's another reason why you need reparations, because you shouldn't necessarily have to have people to do what you need to do. You should be able to do what you need to do on your own, outside of like make a baby. But that's a whole other conversation for another day because I definitely have some thoughts on that.
Hey, just
Um,
you hit something right. Like
what's that?
I told people before, the money is not the issue with this country or anybody, right? It's so much fucking money. Any number we come up with, they'll be able to pay it. You know what it is? What you just said. If you get your reparations, you won't have to ask nobody for shit, right? You just be able to make power moves after power moves after power moves. You everybody on this stage that's for that shit. We will build our own schools. We'll have our own fucking doctors. We'll build our own hospitals. Everything that we use that these white folk supply for us and allow us to use, we would create the same shit with wealth, because that's just what wealth do. And if you got people that know how that shit work, and you get these reparation dollars that they got, so it ain't that. It ain't that. It's what they know we would do with it, because they know we would do exactly what the fuck they doing with it, right? And
That's messed up because I can't hear anything he's saying anymore. Devon, can you still hear him?
Nah, he cut off. He cut off. Like he was in the middle of cooking, then he cut off.
That's all sorts of messed up.
But he was saying some real shit about what them know what they do with it. We would definitely build our own schools. Like I look at my businesses. I was able to survive here and still here in LA. So many black people leaving LA. But from when I used to do mortgage in the 2000s when I worked at Washington Mutual Bank, to my years working with IEPs and black children, even now my cardiology business and my comedy, it's been black people. And when we have money in our economy, like in 2020, black people were spending with me freely. But when the economy gets tight, it gets tight on us first. And so we the ones that it backs off. That when we don't spend money with each other, it's usually because we don't have it. I remember 2020 and 2021 when black people had that stimulus money. Man, black folks, the economy was real good for all of us that are in business. People were able to get things that they want and desire from other black people, and they know that. And they also know another thing: we own and control our music and the distribution. And quiet is kept. Black music is America's #1 export to the rest of the world. So what if we were able to, the #1 economy in the world, if we goddamn had our reparations, we wouldn't need them for distribution. We wouldn't need them for nothing when it comes to that kind of stuff. So we had one Death Row, one Motown nigga, we'd have 15 of them hoes. And that's what the fuck they scared of.
That is real. And I love when people like to challenge that because they like to say that we trick off our stuff, right? They say we're gonna buy tattoos or guns or weed or alcohol, or you niggas is just so irresponsible with your money. You're gonna buy Jordans and jerseys. I don't know when the last time I saw a nigga in a jersey, but that's a this. I have all these segues for other conversations that we can have, right? Okay, don't you love that? Okay. Anyway, my point. Here's my point. If you were ever challenged with, we're gonna trick off our money, why can't you just respond with, let them? Nobody else has their hand in these other people's pockets. They don't give a shit that the native Asian people, not the native Indians, because that's us, right? Okay, the native Asians, the other, the yellow Indians, they never talk about their alcoholism as much as they talk about the fact that they're not here anymore, right? They don't talk about the fact that they're tricking off all their money, but they talk about that we should, woe is me, and ooh, they've got this problem and predilection for, they've got alcoholism, and that's a whole other symptom of the racism, white supremacy that they've experienced. Okay, again, a lot of segues for other conversations that we could have tonight. I don't want to really do that as much as I just want to sprinkle that on your consciousness tonight, because it's necessary to think about the fact that these other groups don't get talked to the way that we get talked to. Do y'all remember Joe Biden clapped at them niggas? He clapped at them. Really? Like, he on Zoom. It was recorded. And nobody had anything to say except people like you and me. That's a problem. But if we're the vanguard, let's change gang with guard. If we're the vanguard, then I guess we're the people who are supposed to say something. And then y'all can't forget to keep saying something, because them other niggas will forget. The voting season is coming up. They will forget. They will look at something stupid and be like, yeah, they did something for us. No, they didn't do anything for you or me, my minis, your minis. Not nobody has gotten anything from them people. Not on this side, not on that side. But we're open for a conversation if you want to do something for us, and then, we can talk about it. But you're gonna have to do something for us first. But if we can't all have that conversation, then what are we doing? Why are we even infighting? We should just let them have it. If we can't all be focused on the same shit, then just fuck it. Fuck it all. Just give it to them. That's what they want anyway. It would be a lot easier because y'all niggas who want to be the coons in charge, y'all would get what you want way faster. Okay, but y'all don't want to have that conversation, because it is maybe a conversation for another day. Our sister, Love I Am, peace to you, sis. Welcome to the stage. You have some thoughts?
Did you call on me?
I did. I think I did that pretty fast too. I didn't mean to,
You
but I was coughing all at the same time. Love I Am. That's you.
else. I
You're
have
right.
one comment that I wanted to make. They have a fear that we're gonna do what we've done historically. We had self-sustained towns and communities prior to integration that were very successful. So from the vantage point of capitalism, we were actually the only ethnic group that competed with them. We are competition for them. So whenever people tell me that we're gonna misappropriate funds, or we don't have financial literacy and things like that, I always remind them of our history with having self-sustained towns and communities that were bombed and flooded by the government, so that they can actually uh turn us into codependents on a system that relies on us to be the underclass. So we don't even have to say we would do. I heard Unc say, but it's not what we would do what they've done. We would do what we've done historically, that no other group has done. Is have towns and communities that were not reliant or codependent on their systems in any regard.
I think that that's a beautiful thought, and it definitely needs to be on our forefront that not only were the Black Wall, because that's what she's talking about Black Wall Streets, right? But not only were there Black Wall Streets, but how far removed were the Black Wall Streets from the most trauma that we've been inflicted on in real time? And then they told us that we were illiterate. We had to learn Tut for damn, like, for goodness sakes, like, which is a whole language that's not a language, if that's a story that you know. And if it's a story you don't know, then maybe you only know that niggas were not allowed to learn to read and write. And if you were not allowed to learn to read and write, how how are you able to be this business conglomerate, like in control of this mecca where people are coming and flocking. You're thriving, and your community is flourishing. And them other people who have the resources and the know how and the wherewithal, they it's not, the math ain't mathin' for them. Where they do that at, that's ours.
Mhm.
And that's not something we were taught per se. So, love, I am, thank you for that thought
Eve,
because we
Eve,
need that.
I was gonna go on what she said because she made a great point about from Wilmington 1898 through Tulsa 1921, and then even some afterwards. Arsenic in the water up here in Allensworth, California. Um, Star down there. I don't know. Oh, she just left. Her family was affected by that. My great grandfather parents lived in Tulsa when that happened. Not only did that happen in the 19 teens and 20s, it happened again in the 70s. We must never minimize the war on drugs. According to Nixon's people, that was the war on black people. The government, the government, they bombed us out of our towns. Fine. We went to the cities and got jobs. And then in the 50s and the 60s, we had neighborhoods, not hoods. We had businesses, but we owned bus lines. We owned in that short little period, within 40 years of moving into cities, we owned everything within our areas. So then they had to turn around and create the goddamn war on drugs. We literally had a covert war with our government throughout the 80s, 90s, and it still goes through to this day because last I checked, the war on drugs never ended. Matter of fact, when they asked Biden about ending the war on drugs when he was running for president, he said there's no reason to because drugs are still a problem. So the war on drugs, aka the war on Negroes, still exists. When it comes to waterboarding tactics, never forget 1967 through 1982, the city of Chicago was practicing those tactics on black citizens, and those black citizens got what? Reparations, about $300 million back in 2012. So they have already paid reparations out in some forms, but these are military terroristic tactics that they use in Iraq, but they started on niggas in Chicago. Like this country literally created a drug, created not multiple drugs, and targeted just us. So not only is it the overt war that we got bombed out of our homes, we have the covert war that happened less than 50 years later. This country is at constant warfare, and before they bomb and destabilize other nations, they figure out how to bomb and destabilize other nations through experimenting with us first. Everything that they do in other countries started with them doing undermining us. So when we add in the Wall Street, we also got to add in the active, still current, according to the current president, who was specifically asked, "Will he end it?" He said, "No. We're still at war with us." We must never forget that point.
Facts, absolutely facts. People like to black and white pictures us with regards to our story and our trauma. But even the black and white pictures that they show weren't even black and white pictures. The technology was there. They just want to remove you from what's
Eve,
yours.
I was doing a show researching the LA riots in 1992. Go and look it up. All but a handful of pictures on the 1992 LA riots are in black and white. First off, most of the pictures have been scrubbed. But the pictures that you have left over for the LA riots, if you Google that shit, or if you Google like the war on drugs in the 80s when those barrack camp, those tanks that were knocking over homes to get inside, look up those pictures right now. Mostly all them hoes is black and white.
That's crazy. And he's telling you to look it up for a reason. Look it up for yourself. Don't believe him because he's saying it, but I guess you could if you want to. I'll try never to bring you people that I think will lie to you as much as I think that maybe sometimes the information has evolved and we can learn from it. That actually happened real time in a space. Shout out to the brother who learned that Wolverine and you. Never mind. Never mind. Dwan, you might remember, but I know he remembers. Anyway, to the space. Love, I am. I loved your point, and I appreciate you for bringing that up. And we need to always remember that that's us. if we burn it down, if they burn it down, if we burn it down, if it burns down, it's okay. Why? Why is it okay? Because we built this shit already. Like, we already did this. So if you're not a person who knows that, then maybe you're not from here. And maybe that's a conversation you need to have with your family. Not with me, with your people who probably know that they're not from here. That's a conversation y'all need to have. Okay. JB, you have your hand up. I appreciate you for being patient. You got some thoughts?
Yeah, thank you for that. So I jumped into the space a little later. I just looked at the title, Cults, Gangs, and Religion. And I kind of want to emphasize gangs, right? Because I hear a lot of people who disparage black people. They say, yeah, we represent the most in crime, or we represent the most in degeneracy, or we booty shake, all type of weird shit, right? And at some point, I stepped back and said, okay, what is the motivation to saying this? Are you saying this to make a point? Like, what is the end goal? Do you want some solution? Because in my opinion, if those things are true, right? I don't believe they're true, but if they are true, right? The solution is organizing. Like, full stop. We gotta find some solution, do risk cause analysis. This is the risk, this is the cause, and the solution or analysis is we have to come together and collect collective energy. But when we do that, they call us gang members. We can't organize at all without them disenfranchising us or demonize us, or calling us gang members. So I guess it's my short of my short analysis of what it's saying. But we can't come together without them demonizing us, right? They would call us all types of weird shit. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
I agree. And I appreciate that thought because, well, I guess Miriam was kind of talking about it earlier. I don't know where she went, but sometimes when we're even having the gang conversation, it is spooky because we get targeted way harder than everybody else. I mean, it took a whole act of Congress for the January 6th insurrection to be something that people were saying needed to be punished. And when I say people, I mean the cowards in charge, not us. We knew that that type of stuff gets consequence, which is why we haven't done said or participated in similar types of tactics. We know that you y'all know you run a red light, you're gonna get pulled over way faster than anybody else. I don't know how they know sometimes when your seatbelt is not on or when you didn't use your turn signal, but for whatever reason, there's a whole radar out when you're out on the road versus when other people are out on the road. But that's them working as a gang against us. I think that we can take these similar tactics and use them and win. Because what are we talking about if we're not talking about winning? What's the point? If you're not talking about winning, go away for a long time, at least until we win. Then you can come back. I won't really fuck with you like that, but at least you won't have been in the way. Because right now, there's a lot of people in the way, and it's personality beef, it's popularity conflicts, it's I don't like you because you said something that I didn't like, not because the work that you've done doesn't get us to where we need to get to. If everybody were right handed, then there wouldn't be any left handed people, but I don't know if there needs to be right-handed or left-handed people as much as everybody needs to be able to write or something. Like we all
We need us left-handed people because you right-handed motherfuckers is weird. You dig? You don't minimize left-handedness. Like, yeah, we y'all need us. Just
see,
FYI.
and I
But go
only
ahead.
I only do that I guess because I can use both. So, what about us? Like how are y'all so stifled by just being able to use one? Or do we need to be out here being ambidextrous to one? Is that how our cult gang or religion gets to where we need to get to? We can start using both sides of that brain
You
at the same
got to,
time.
like, when you left-handed, you gotta be right-handed because every fucking thing is right-handed out there. God damn, you can't do shit with your left hand. And it's like, but Eve, you used to coach basketball like I used to coach basketball, so we both can talk about this thing from a sports perspective. When it comes from a sports perspective, you always work on your weaknesses. You turn your weaknesses into strengths, and the more game that you have, the more points you can attack the defense, and the more points you can attack the defense, the more you put the defense on the heels, and the more the defense is on the heels, the more likely you are to score. So, going into what you were saying earlier about being ambidextrous, left-handed as I am, you better know how to drive left and finish right. You better know how to drive right and finish left. If you don't, the defense is going to be able to funnel you into positions to where you're not going to be able to score. And so we got to understand that we're against, what we're up against. And I think it's a good thing when we have these, like going back into cults, gangs, and religion. When you have all, it's good. The differences that we have amongst us should be celebrated, not fought, because it's the differences is how we're going to win this. It's in me attacking it from this point of view, you attacking it from that point of view. At the same time, we do need to yell out loud, where we make a mistake. At some point, you got to call an audible in the play. At some point, that's when there's the love about the triangle offense. The triangle offense has sets that they would run depending on how the defense was leaning. Whether you're going to smoke the screen or pin down or pop out, all depended on how the defense was playing. And it required a nonverbal communication for these things to execute and happen. We have to both see the same things and know exactly what to do at that point on where to cut and where the ball should go. And that's how we should be as a people. As a people, we got to know that, hey, my skill set is rebounding, your set is shooting, that person's skill set is setting screens. That's why I love dealing with people who like play sports, because we all understand that everybody has a different position, and we're only going to win if everybody plays their position and not fight over who's doing what and why you should follow this person and not that person. You got point guards out here telling you not to pay attention to the fucking center. Well, if you don't pay attention to the goddamn center, where your rebounds gonna come from, where your screens gonna come from, where your putback baskets gonna come from. You need all that shit if you gonna win a game. You better pay attention to that nigga, And so we as a people, at the same time, you got to be able to yell out who's not on the team. You got somebody on your team. Every time you pass them the ball, they fumbling that shit out of bounds on their ankle. The niggas they can't catch. You know what I mean? They're never where they're supposed to be on the spot of the floor, so you can create floor spacing. So you have to also be critical, like we're talking about, and we do got to call people out. Like, hey, look, that's why I'm saying if you do call somebody out, if you listen to somebody, call somebody else out, they need to be able to answer who, what, when, where, why, and how. They need to be able to explain. And if what they explain comes through and we all see the same thing, then we all know what to do. And then it's back to about our business. You know what I mean? Some niggas just want to call somebody out because they don't like them. And that's what and if you ask those questions, who, what, when, where, why, and how, you're gonna find that out. And so I think that like what you're saying, Eve, we got to be able to listen to ourselves, and we all got to play our own game, and we got to celebrate the diversity amongst us, because it is certain parts of black folks that ain't taking no for an answer. They're gonna be a little more hard nosed. You need the military niggas, and they're usually a little bit younger. You just need to, you have other people who are gonna be more passive, and they could go inside Master's house and talk to Master directly. You need them people. You can't just sit around and be like, oh, because they're under this title, they have to be that way. No, it's some motherfuckers that actually go inside the house and get things done. You know what I mean? You got to sit back and watch and let their actions and their results speak for themselves. Let's let the results speak. You have other people who are going to be at rallies and they're going to be rah 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 rah. You have other people like Mary Ellen Pleasant who just gonna sit back and fund the movement. And she funded a white boy. You know what I mean? You got other people, it's all these roles exist. You got people, the mental health advocates, like our brother who spoke earlier. You got those are people who can approach it from a healing point of view. You got people out here in Black Empowerment talking about we don't have time for healing. We don't have yes, what? Yes, we need them motherfuckers. Just like we need the people, because we are traumatized people. A lot of us need triage. And we need that triage treatment in order to get back to a place to where our feet are set on solid ground so we can be. We gotta celebrate each other's difference in that whole cult shit. You can't knock motherfuckers out just because you don't like the way they said something, or who said it or because they drive a certain car. Get over that immature, petty ass shit.
Real talk. Some of the most beautiful sentiments have been spoken tonight. And I think it's because I like to embrace us as unique while also embracing us as the same. They look at us as one big nigga. Do y'all? Because if you did, then you would want us to have what's ours. It wouldn't be this competition, or at least not like that. If we're playing, a sport or whatever. Like Dwan, like he said, I I think it's way easier to talk to people who've played sports than it is to talk to people who've not played sports. And I think that if you haven't played sports, then maybe you should watch people who play sports, because some of these things you'll get by being a spectator, but some of these things you'll understand more by participating. And if you want to be in the game of us getting what's owed to us, nobody's stopping you. Go ahead, get in the game. What's up? W- Play your part. I'm not out here trying to jump for the ball. I'm 5'3.5" on a good day. So, I mean, we all have to know where we're supposed to be on the court. But it doesn't mean that, you don't have a purpose on the court. And maybe your purpose is to give somebody some water, because that's a very important role too. Like, Adam Sandler tried to make y'all think that Waterboy was retarded, but really that motherfucker has a very important job to keep everybody hydrated so that we can win. I mean, if you have like a fully functioning team where everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. But if your team doesn't care, and then you just give jobs to people that aren't supposed to do the job the way that it needs to be done, or if you don't care who's in the role, then okay, maybe your water boy looks like Adam Sandler. And no offense to anybody who is like that, because really, I hate politically correct culture. Y'all know why they cast that role the way that they cast that role. So fuck you if you're trying to make me out to be a bad person, like the people who've been trying to say I'm xenophobic for wanting lineage based studies for our minis. But anyway, like Devon was saying earlier, I think that we can all be on the same side while accepting that we might not all agree on the same things. But some things should be lines in the sand. If you feel like reparations should be shared, line in the sand, you got to be over there. If you feel like you can hyphenate your blackness,
Yeah.
how? How do you do? Nobody else does that
We
and gets the same benefit. You know,
what about people that say we don't need reparations? Where they at?
Right? Like, you don't need reparations. Line in the sand, you got to be over there. So the cult gang religion of black empowerment does have some non-negotiables. But at the end of the day, as long as we can agree to some things, it's not everything. I swear to God, it's not everything. You can be a Christian or a Muslim. You can be a Democrat or a Republican. I really don't care, as long as you're telling the people that you are talking to about what's owed to us is owed to us specifically. And that, some of those things that we need to have on paper, cash, direct payments, no, not this big focus on programs that can be infiltrated, not this big focus on a bureau that can be infiltrated, just simple math. I think that we can get to where we need to get to very easily if we all are in agreement about some things. From there, do you. Black first.